Thank you. Thank you, Michael. So, has anyone here ever heard of a place called Monza, Italy? Yeah, Formula One, Grand Prix fan right there. So, Monza, Italy is famous for Formula One. Now, Monza, Italy is also famous for something else. In 2004, the City Council of Monza, Italy decided to outlaw any goldfish in a bowl. If you had a goldfish at home, you could no longer have that goldfish in a bowl. You have to provide a flat tank. Because the city councilors of Monza, Italy decided that a fish bowl distorts the goldfish's view of reality. So they decided the humane thing to do is put a goldfish in an aquarium. Now, goldfish only have a lifespan about 5 to 10 years. So if you're a goldfish, just imagine little Joe Pesci, the goldfish, swimming in his goldfish bowl, and suddenly he gets put into an aquarium, and he goes, oh, hey, yo, what happened to my reality? Because you can only know the reality that you're immersed in. When I was 14, my dad hit me for the first and last time. He hit me for the first time because I brought home a boy. He hit me because I brought home a boy that wasn't part of my culture. It was the last time because it was the last time I spoke to my dad. And I wouldn't talk about that. I wouldn't talk about that because I didn't want people to think that my dad was a racist. I didn't want people to think that I grew up in a racist household. And this is the thing. It actually wasn't racist, even though it was on the subject of race. See, I brought home my first boyfriend who was Trinidadian. He taught me how to whine. Taught me that the Trini wine is the original wine. Anyone here Trinidadian? You can't talk to a Trinidadian about whining without them telling you it's the original wine. It's like they're morally compelled to tell you that the Trini wine is the original wine, so I call them the original whiners. But my first boyfriend taught me how to whine, and he taught me all kinds of things that were outside of my culture. He taught me about grilled cheese sandwiches, which I know is not a Trini thing, but it's definitely not a my culture thing. And he taught me that everything that I had lived up until then was a goldfish in a fishbowl. And everything that my dad lived until then was a goldfish in a fishbowl. I suddenly was placed in an aquarium. And my view of reality was no longer distorted. It took me many, many, many years and many personal development courses, rooms such as this, hours of self-contemplation and trying to figure out why was it that my father had such a reaction to me bringing home a Trini boy. And I realized that my dad was actually living in his own fishbowl. And his fishbowl said, white is right, dark is wrong. And here's the irony. My dad is dark. He comes from a North African lineage. But in his culture, in my culture, being darker meant you weren't as classy. Being white meant you had a higher IQ. Being dark meant you weren't as rich. Being white meant you had success in the world. That was his view of reality. So for his daughter to bring home someone who wasn't from my culture, it wasn't about race. For him, it was about opportunity. It was about control. It was about his own identity and wanting to run away from all the things that he judged in himself as wrong, because he learned that. That was the script that he was given. That was his fishbowl for all his life. I'm now 44, so 30 years have passed since that day. I still know how to turn wine. I still don't talk to my dad. These years have passed, and I'm still not willing to see the view of life in his fishbowl. I'm not willing to put myself back into that fishbowl of control in order to view what his version of the reality is. I send him love, I send him forgiveness, but I'm not willing to allow my view to be curved in such a sense. So now think of it from your own perspectives. Think in your own life. If all you're doing is swimming in your fishbowl of reality, how many things are there that you cannot see? That you just cannot see? Your eyes cannot see beyond the fishbowl. You haven't yet been placed in an aquarium. The glass hasn't been cleared for you to be able to see that. Just think about all those things. And I'll start by saying all those things that you really, 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 really want to do, those are probably your first clues. You know, a fish, a goldfish, does nothing but swim for 5 to 10 years. The average human lifespan is 75 to 85. Sometimes some people get lucky and live way past that, but no one gets out of here alive. And we do a lot more than just swim in those 75 to 85 plus years. We do a lot more than just swim. So think about it. If you were just a goldfish and all you did was swim, that would be settling for a life in a fishbowl. If all you did was only what you know, that would be you in a fishbowl. Are you willing to live your 75 to 85 years on this earth in a fishbowl? No. So what's it going to take to break out of that fishbowl and jump into the aquarium? It's going to take a little bit of Trini wine and a lot of swimming. Thank you.